Well, welcome to week 7, everyone. We have this week and we have next week, and at the end of next week, we're done with the class. So, we are going through one last little piece for you to learn this week. It's two small assignments, but then I'm also assigning the final project. I'm going to go through all that right in here. First thing to remember right here, watch this video. This video is the one I'm recording currently. This is just a placeholder, but when you click on it, it will play the video. All right. So make sure you watch that video first. I'm going to walk through what we're doing this week, what is due, what my expectations are, and then I'm going to give you all the details on the assignments this week and the final project. Also, within this video, this is the color correction tutorial because that's what we're doing this week is color correction. And make sure that you follow along. This will help you with the assignment this week. Your assignment should really not take any more than probably 1 hour for the color correction portion of it. And then you have a small bit of writing for your final project, and then you'll have your final project so you can start right in on it. So I've made this week fairly light, 2 small assignments, and then your final project is assigned. So here we are, color correction. So this week we will be doing color correction and grading, and then we will start writing your final project script. What is due? Your discussion question is due. One thing I noticed is there's a fair amount of people that did not turn in a discussion question. This hinders the people that have turned in the discussion question and they're looking to be able to comment on posts. So that's a little bit on the difficult side. Also, what is due is your 2-person dialogue. Should have been something fairly simple. Make sure you get that turned in ASAP. All right, your assignments this week are your color correction, your synopsis for your final project, and as I said, start working on your final project. As you notice right here, it says don't put this off. You have enough to do between this week and next week to keep you busy most every day for at least an hour or two. If you try and wait till the last second to do your final project, you won't get it done. So please start working on this very early. This is worth about 1/3 of your grade. If you have to pick an assignment, if you're backed up and missing a couple assignments, if there was one to pick, it's this one. Get this one done. It's worth the equivalent of 3 assignments. So make sure that you get that done. All right, let's move forward. So here's your study materials. I've given you 3 videos along with what I'm going to do in this video that talk to you about color correction and help you understand. So they basically go through the same stuff I'm going to go through, but they explain it in a slightly different manner. I give these to you so you can watch mine, and if you're like, I'm not sure if I completely understand, you can watch some of these. These are tutorials, and maybe they'll explain the same thing that I'm explaining in a slightly different manner that makes you understand. So make sure that you watch all 3 of these videos. And then your color correction assignment. So you are going to download each video clip. That's right here at this link. 2 whitewater rafting clips and 1 of a boy with a pink soccer ball. Okay. So you have 3 clips that you have to download, which they're all right here. Take them into Premiere Pro. Cut them down to 10 seconds and color correct each of them in a single timeline. So basically, download all 3 clips, bring them into Premiere Pro, cut each one of them to 10 seconds, and put them in the exact same timeline back to back to back. Okay, once you've done that, you're going to color correct them as I'm going to demonstrate in a few minutes. So color correct each one, and then once you've completed that, you are going to export that timeline at 720p24. You'll upload it to YouTube just like normal, and then you will share the link here. As I state right here, this should be a simple, quick assignment, but it is crucial in learning to make your shots look professional. I am expecting for your final project that your shots will be color corrected and everything. So if you just shoot them on a camera, the color might be decent, but they probably won't be perfect. So I'm expecting all shots in your final project to be color corrected. All right. So, your synopsis. The next thing that is due for your final project is write a 1 to 2 paragraph synopsis for your final project. Turn it in as a PDF document here on this page. It must be a PDF. Don't turn in links, don't turn in Word documents or anything. Don't turn in like a Google document link. Don't turn in a Google document file. I won't be able to read them. Turn it in as a PDF only. All right. So if you're in Google Documents, you can export it as a PDF. If you're in Microsoft Word, you can export it as a PDF. If you're using Pages on a Macintosh, you can turn it in as a PDF. And then I'm able to view it. Okay. Your final can be a narrative story. Okay. So that's any sort of a short film story, fictional story, a commercial of any sort of product. It can be a product that already exists. It could be a fake product. This could be comedic. This could be straightforward and serious. A biography or documentary. Okay, so if there's a person that you want to tell a story about, I had somebody that had their grandfather was a World War II veteran, and they did a cool biography / documentary about their grandfather because he had photos and all kinds of stuff. And then you could do a documentary, and a documentary could be about an interesting subject. So it doesn't necessarily have to be about a person, it can be about a subject. Your final project should be 2 to 4 minutes long. And when I say 2 to 4 minutes long, that is 2 to 4 minutes long, edited and clean and perfect and as professional as possible. So don't just throw everything in a timeline and think that it's good. Make sure that you go in there. This is an editing class, so make sure that you've really spent your time trimming all the fat off and making it as clean and crisp and perfect as possible. But it also must end up being a minimum of 2 minutes and a maximum of 4 minutes. If you're going to go outside of those timelines, you need to email me ASAP and explain to me why, and I may or may not approve that. This includes your commercial needs to be 2 to 4 minutes. So think of it more of an infomercial, okay? As long as you have a beginning, so I'm starting right here, a beginning, middle, and end to the story. This includes an antagonist. An antagonist is a person or a thing that is causing a difficulty within the story. That's what makes stories interesting. It causes a conflict, and you must have a protagonist that overcomes whatever the antagonist is doing. So the protagonist is generally your main character. The antagonist is usually the person or the thing that is causing the conflict in the story. This includes commercials. Every commercial has a protagonist and an antagonist. And you think, oh, wait, hold on, how does that work? Think of a Tide with bleach commercial. So you have a little boy or little girl running around, and he slides or she slides on the lawn and gets all kinds of grass stains on their pants. So there's your protagonist, the main character of the story. Or the mother of the child could be the protagonist or antagonist. And then they take the pants that have the grass stains, and they're like, oh my gosh, grass stains, they don't come out. Well, the grass stain is the antagonist. And then the way that they overcome it is using Tide with bleach. All right, so as you can see, there's the beginning, which is whatever the issue is, whatever happens. Then there's the middle, which is identifying the problem and trying to overcome this problem. And then there's the finale, which is the outcome. So generally in a good commercial, the use of the product and how great it is. Okay, same thing works for your narrative stories, your commercials, your biographies. If you're going to have a story, it's not just going to be a story of a person doing nothing. You're going to have the story of a person, and there's something that they have to overcome, or something great that has happened to them, and there's a story behind what's great that's happened to them. So make sure that you cover that. Okay, so you're writing 1 to 2 paragraphs about whatever it is, so your idea. Okay, and before you write this, please look at the final assignment page before starting this writing process, and we'll get to that here in just a moment. So look at what the assignment actually is, but I'm giving you some of the details here. So you can have a story, documentary, or biography, a simplistic view of the story. So you're basically telling me, hey, so and so wants to do this. They come up against this particular obstacle. They try and try and try doing these particular things to finally defeat whatever this obstacle is, and then they, win the day of some sort. Okay. So you have your beginning, you have your middle, and you have your end. Now, commercial, same thing. You have your beginning. This is the product and what it does. The middle, how does this product not, how do other products not work as well? Or how are you surviving without this product? So you're basically stating, hey, you need this product because, it doesn't work for, other products don't work as well. As I just used right here, the grass stain. You can't get the grass stain out unless you have this product. Okay, and then the end is your life after the product and how it made you or you a more complete person for the task at hand. So that's essentially what you're going for. Introduce it, have it go through the struggle, show that and then at the end show that it has defeated whatever the struggle, and how, and if it's a product, how you can't believe you lived without the product before. So that's kind of the quick overview. Again, this is a 1 to 2 paragraph synopsis. A synopsis is give me the main details. Okay. Again, just like it says right here, the beginning, what is the journey going to be? The middle, what is the struggle? The end, what is the outcome? Okay. So 1 to 2 paragraphs, turn that in here. Should take you probably about 30 minutes, 45 minutes once you have your idea. All right, your final assignment consists of the following. Shoot or source your own footage. Okay, that means you must come up with your footage. However you're going to do that, you have to come up with it. Create a narrative story, product, commercial, documentary, or biography. We just covered that. Try something new. Don't just do what is normal and easy for you. Don't go and be like, well, I always do action sports videos with skateboarders, so I'm going to do the same thing. No, try something new. Step outside of your comfort zone. Okay. The big thing here is make sure that you have this turned in by March 16th, right here, March 16th at 11:59. Okay, that is a hard deadline. I cannot accept anything past 11:59 p.m. on March 16th. Number one, I'll be asleep by that time because you guys are, your guys' time zone is after mine. So at 11:59, it's I think by that time because of yeah, you guys are going to be 2 hours behind me. So it'll be 2 o'clock in the morning my time when you turn it in. If you waited all the way up until the deadline, I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to grade everybody's stuff as soon as I wake up. Once I wake up, I grade it, I turn it in, and by the end of that day, I think it's like at 5 p.m., I have to have everybody's grades turned in. I have another job teaching, so I'm going to be at that job all day. So basically, when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to grade everything, and I'm going to turn my grades in before I go to my other job. Okay? So here it is broken down. For 10 points, it's going to be 2 to 4 minutes. Okay? If you go outside of the 2 to 4 minutes, you'll lose, depending on how bad it is, you'll lose some of those 10 points. You're going to use Premiere Pro and After Effects on this project. You need, as it says right here, intro, titles, and credits. So you must use Premiere Pro or After Effects to create those. Okay, they should match the theme of the short film that you're doing, or commercial, or documentary, biography. Okay, don't just, as it says right here, no, I misspelled letters right there. No white letters that fade on and off the screen. And that's your title and those are your credits, okay? I want something, we worked on those for one of our weeks here. I want something that is nice and creative that fits the same stylistic choices that you make for your film, okay? And that's worth 10 points. So as it says right here, wow me with something new and cool, okay? So be creative with that. Spend some time on your credits and your title. You must have a credit and titles, even if it is, even if it's a commercial. You should have a title of the commercial. We should see the logo pop up, and then I just want your credits at the end to show who filmed and who the actor or actresses, the editor, so on and so forth. You may grab some friends and have them help you with it when you're creating this. Okay, VFX should be used in this film. Okay, try to be creative and make it your own. Okay, visual effects could be anything from color changing something in your assignment to compositing or clipping out anything, having those motion graphics titles that we did 2 weeks ago. Anything that is causing you to use the effects panel. So I'm pretty liberal with this. So right here it says this can be green screen, an object appear out of nowhere, smoke, or anything that you can think of that is done with inside Premiere Pro or After Effects. Okay, so I'm expecting that there will be some form of visual effect. Okay, so figure that one out. I can't tell you how you're going to do that one, but I'm just letting you know what needs to be in there. It's worth 10 points. Clean audio. So I want to be able to hear the audio and there's no crackles and ruffles and any sort of thing like where the audio is bad. Okay, if you get bad audio, go re-record your audio. Okay, that's worth 10 points. Okay, and then your film must have clean audio, which it says right here. It needs a music bed. So all of these videos should have music playing while whatever it is that you're showing us, it should be playing the whole time. Music is a great way to affect the audience's emotion. Okay, if it's a sad moment, have sad music. If it's an exciting moment, have exciting music. So you're going to use a music bed. I expect to hear sound effects, and I expect there to be dialogue. Okay, so right here, mixed well with the dialogue. So that is implying, with the dialogue, is implying that there will be dialogue. Okay, this should not be a video montage that has no dialogue. It needs to have a story. There needs to be dialogue, whatever it may be. So it all needs to be mixed well. Music, sound effects, and dialogue are required in all of the assignments. Okay, I want the color corrected on this, so we're doing that this week. So you must have your color corrected. And then right here, 40 points of your grade will be for the quality and artistic impression and professionalism of your final product. Okay, essentially 40 points. This is where things hinge on it. If you do all the things above, but you turn in kind of like an project, sure, you might get all the points right here. But if it's not very good, if it doesn't feel very quality, depending on how good it is, will depend on how many of those 40 points. If it's something that's really great and love it, you could get all 40 of those points and you can get 100% on this. And as I said, this is a 100-point project. Your assignments are usually 10 points each. So you have 6 10-point projects, and this is worth 100. So this is worth, we have 6 10-point projects, plus you have your discussion questions. So this is just under 50% when it all comes down to it of your entire semester grade. Okay, so how quality is this product? That's essentially what I'm looking for. If you've really tried hard and really tried to be creative, I would much rather have you try something really hard and fail. You will get more points for that than just kind of do the same old and it's clean, but there's nothing special about it. So try working very hard. Try and push yourself on this. This is your final project for this class. Okay, so that is your final project. Okay, that is everything for this week. Okay, so make sure that you do the color correction assignment, do your synopsis for your final, and start working on your final. Don't put it off. You want to be working on your final project this week. Your synopsis should be turned in. If I was to give you a timeline on what I truly expect, I would expect that you would have your color correction done by probably Tuesday or Wednesday. You would have your synopsis turned in by Thursday or Friday, and you would start working on your final project over this coming weekend. Okay, and that will give you that weekend. It will give you the full entire next week, and it gives you the entire next weekend, and then it's turned in on Sunday night. So it's going to give you it would give you approximately 10 days to do this. That's what I would recommend. If you don't do that, you're just cutting yourself short, because this final project is time consuming. I'm guessing it will take a minimum of 10 hours, could be more. Okay, so I've been talking long enough about that. Let's jump over here to Premiere Pro. So here's Premiere Pro. I'm going to teach you to color correct. As you can see, I've opened it up. I have footage in here, and if we go to my timeline, I have 2 whitewater rafting clips. These are not the same ones that you have. I pulled them from the same files, but they're colored the same way. So this is what we call log mode. It looks like all the color is kind of muted, or desaturated, and you have essentially the same thing with the whitewater rafting photos. So here we are. We're going to come up to the upper right-hand side where it says workspace right here on this box. Click on that box, and we are going to slide down here to color. It's just underneath editing. I'm going to click on that, and here is our color correction layout. Okay, so this is our workspace for color correction. Right here, underneath the wrench, you can look at this, and you want to make sure that you have Parade RGB and Waveform Luma selected. Okay, have those 2 selected. If you have histogram or vector scope selected, I would suggest unselecting those, and see, I can select it right there, and it will add it. And notice now there's 3 things. I can come back up here and select vector scope, and I can add that. So you don't want this one here, you don't want this one here. I'm going to unselect those and get rid of them, and make sure again that you have Parade RGB and Waveform. If you need to look at these, here it is. There's your Parade type. I have RGB selected. Waveform type, I have Luma selected. Okay, so that's how you do it. And this is your red, blue, and green, and this is your light. Okay, so luminance, this is your Luma. This all has to do with how much light. So your blacks are on the bottom, your whites are on the top. Same thing here. So your brightness is up here, and your darkness is down here with these colors. So this would be dark red down here, light red up here, dark green, dark blue, light blue. It's all the same color in the meter, but this is how you read the meter. Okay, we have all the way up to 120, down to -20, and then this one goes from 0 to 100. Where we want these to sit with your whites and blacks. So black is at 0, like the absolute white that you can possibly see with your eye is actually at 100. So to go over 100 is useless. You never want your blacks, so the bottom of all of this, you don't want it to go below 10 or below 0. I would actually prefer it to be closer to 10 or slightly below 10, but not coming all the way to 0. I'll show you that in a moment. And we don't want our whites to go really above 90 or 95. Same thing here with our colors. We want our colors to be above 100, below 10 for the darkest, and then above 90, below 100 for the brightest. Okay, so here we go. Here's my shot. It's just a raft on a river. Okay, over here on this panel, okay, on my right-hand panel, this is my Lumetri color panel. I'm going to only be working, this is all I expect. I don't expect you to work with creative curves, color wheels. We're not doing any of those. We're just sticking with basic color for this class. Okay, so here's our basic color. Okay, we have white balance, temperature, tint, and saturation. And then you have your exposure, your contrast, your highlights, your shadows, your whites, and your blacks. This is all that we're going to be using. Okay, so if you happen to have white in your shot, I don't think there's any white over here. Oh, there's some white right here. So there's some white right here. The best way to start, if you have white in your shot, is to click on this little eyedropper. Click on that, and then you can roll over here to the most white thing on the shot, find it, and click on it. Now, if you look right here, I'll even undo it in a second. You can see that says 1.1 and -1.6. So that means these sliders moved a little bit because they usually say 0, 0. If I reset, notice they say 0, 0 on both of those. Again, I select the eyedropper, I come over here, and I click it. And again, 1.6, 2.4 this time instead of 2.2. So it did adjust the color slightly. Okay, next, we're going to skip saturation, and we're going to come down here, and we're going to use our scopes over here to make sure our blacks and our whites are where they're supposed to be. So we start off with our blacks, and we go to black, and we grab our slider, and watch what happens when I slide my slider down. Okay, if I slide it all the way to the bottom, I have stuff stacking up right here on the 0. And remember what I said, I want my blacks to be really, if you want to look at this, at 5 to 10. That's where you want your blacks. Okay, so I'm going to slide this up. I'm going to slide it up until the very bottom is right there about 5. So right here, the very lowest part of my black is right around the 5 section right here. It's below the 10, above the 0. So that makes my blacks about where they want to be. Next, here's my whites right here. Okay, they're topped out at 80. We want to bring those up. And really what's going on is, if I'm looking at this, this is the waterfall. This is the brightest part. This whole thing right here is this waterfall right here. So we know, if we look over here, this is darker. If we look in the picture, this is shadowed. Okay, so you can almost see the picture. You can actually see these little blobs right here. Those are people. Okay, these are the people right here. So we want to bring these peaks up to that 90-ish mark. So I'm going to come over here, and I can go to my whites, or I can come up to exposure. I like to go to my whites. I'm going to bring my whites up just a little bit. There's my 90-ish mark. I can even bring it slightly above. Okay, I look back over here. Notice my blacks raised a little bit. Okay, I can either come over here now and bring my blacks down, or I can go back up the ladder and go to shadows. So it goes dark, light, and then this is the 2 combined, and then this is light. So I'm going to come up here to shadow, and I'm going to drag shadow down a little bit. And you can see in the picture right here, as I drag that shadow, you can see it get darker in the shadows, but it doesn't really affect my lights too much. Okay, so I want to bring my shadows down, and there they are. They're around that 10. Remember, I said 10 or 10 and basically to 5. So right in that area is fine. Okay, and we can fine tune this. We're just getting it rough right now. And then we got our highlights. We can raise our highlights, or we can lower our highlights depending on what we want to do. So I want to bring them up just a little tiny bit, just to kind of, you can see the mids right here move up. So we're just bringing them up just a little bit. Okay, and then we have our contrast, and I can now spread this out a little bit. So I can lower my contrast, see how it squeezes my meters together right here, and I now have just completely squeezed it. Or I could, if I maxed it, notice how it pushes it out. Okay, and this is now way down here, almost at 0, and this is almost at 100. It's an extreme. If we're in the middle, we can just push it just a little bit, and notice how it just gives it those darks just a little bit darker, and the brights just a little bit brighter. Okay, and then I can come here to my exposure, and I can decide, do I need more here or less? And really, it's in a pretty good spot. Okay, and then we have our saturation. We can desaturate it completely. It goes black and white, because desaturation means there's no color. Or if I maxed it, you notice how it's super rich in color, and that's a choice. I wouldn't suggest doing this unless you have a reason for it. Notice how you can see the green in the water and the green in the bushes. So let's bring this back to middle, which is where it starts, and I can play with it. I can throw it up here just a little bit. Yeah, right about there. I got some life jackets that look good. I got some rafts that look good, and I got the green in the water. When we come over here and we look at our colors are pretty even. So the red, the green, and the blue all look pretty even. The tops are about the same, the bottoms are about the same. Okay, and I'm going to show you something here. Let's say I crank this. Notice it's turned very pink. And how do you make pink? Red and blue will make pink. Okay, notice how they're maxed out and the green's way down here because I cranked it way up here. Same thing if I go the other way and I go really green. Notice the green really steps up, but the blue and the red come down. Okay, what we're looking for here is we're looking for all the tops to be about the same place and all the bottoms to be about the same place. So remember, it was at 2.4. So somewhere in that, it's kind of jumping. I can type 2.4 if I want. I can click and go 2.4. And lo and behold, there they are, and that color looks good. Okay, now to show you what we have done, if I come over here, let me see here, they moved it on me, there it is. Okay, right here, I can turn this on and off. So if I toggle it off, watch the color change right here. Click, and notice how it's all desaturated and not very colorful. And I click, and there it is, looking all nice. Okay, so we're going to do this one more time. I just kind of ran through it, but you can see all the adjustments that I made. Okay, let's cruise back over here to the first one. Here's this one. So we're going to color correct again, but this time we don't have any white we can click on. The white in the sky doesn't count. Okay, it has to be an actual piece of white within your shot. I've got really no white to click on. So we're looking right here. Notice when it comes to this, this is a good way to tell if your whites are pretty good. Notice everything is fairly close. Okay, and it will change as we add add shadows and add brightness and such. It will change a little bit in here, but the goal is to have this pretty close. We have a little bit of extra blue. It's a little taller than the green, but we'll get to that. So we're gonna, first off, because I don't have any white to click to set up my white balance, I'm just gonna come down and I'm gonna start at the bottom with my blacks. So first we look at our meter right here. The black needs to be down here between 5 and 10. So let's bring our blacks down. Okay, it didn't move very much, but it moved as much as we can. So we brought it from like 30 to almost 20. I'm gonna also take my shadows, and I'm gonna bring my shadows down. That moves it considerably. There we go. Notice my shadows are now at about 10, and depending on how this was shot, I might not be able to get it all the way. We still have our contrast to play with in a minute, but I have those cranked down. We look at the picture, and the picture's so much better already. Okay, now let's take our whites. Remember, we want our whites around that 90-ish area, so we can bring our whites up, and there's the top of that is, and that's kind of this space right here. The top of that is right around that 90 mark. I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna come over to my highlights. I'm gonna bring my highlights up a little bit more. There they are. Now it looks a little blown out. If I come over here, it's better than it was, okay? But I can now use my contrast. So I can bring my contrast in, and I'm bringing that up, and notice what it does. It has now pushed my darks down, but my whites are going up too much. So now I can I can revert back down here, and I can take a little bit of my highlights out, bring that down, and that helps with my blacks. I can bring my whites down a little bit. There we go, get them right there about 90. There it is, 90, 92, right in that area for those. Notice what the picture's doing now. My blacks are at 10, which is not too bad. So think about what you got in the picture here. You have some little blacks here on the trees. You have some blacks over here in the shadows, but really you have a big open sky. You have light reflecting off of all of this water, light reflecting off the boat. There's not a ton of darks. So we've picked up a lot of the darks that we can. Okay, we look over here, all of our colors are pretty good, but that blue is still a little bit hot. So I come over here and look, here's my blue. I can grab that, and notice what happens if I crank it, go all the way over, and it gets really orange. But if we bring it back, let's line that blue up with the green and the red. Right about there. That's pretty good right there. It's at 9, and the color looks pretty solid, okay? If I was to crank my saturation, it gets really green because of all the green in the shot, but notice you can still see the orange, you can still see the blue of the boat, you can still see the brown in the rocks, and my blues and my greens and my reds are all pretty close. Now when I've cranked up my my saturation, you can see that I've got some points, little bits right here, pushing up above my 90% mark. So of course this is too hot for our saturation. Let's bring our saturation down. There we go. Play with like a 115. That's not bad right there. Okay, we've got our blacks at 10. We've got our whites at 90. We've got our red, and what the red you're seeing is actually the life jackets right there. Those little blips right there. They're at 95. They're not even at 100. The greens are 95. Blues are at 90. Okay, I can again play with this a little bit if I want. I might want to bring that down just a little bit. 4.2. Kind of like that. That's a little bit better. That evens everything up, makes me feel a little better about that. Play with my saturation just a touch. There it is. Okay, I'm happy with this. I've basically used just my meters. I can see the picture, but I've used my meters to make sure everything looks good. If I come over here to basic color correction and I turn that switch, this is what we started with. This is what we ended with. Okay, so that's basic color correction. Follow those steps. Start here at the top, turn on your Lumetri color, so color. Once you're here, select your clip, highlight it. If you have white in the picture that you can click on, click that with the, click the white right here, or the eyedropper onto the white. Start with your blacks. Once you get your blacks where they need to be, so blacks and shadows, then you can use your whites, get your whites where they need to be, using your whites and your highlights. If you need to stretch them or play with the contrast, you can play with the contrast. Exposure is one we didn't use in here because these were exposed properly. These shots were exposed properly. But if you need a little bit more because something's too dark or whatever, you can absolutely bring that up. You can see how that really brings it up. Okay. I don't particularly like to use exposure unless I have to. Notice I stopped right here. I actually don't mind that. And you can see right here it's a 0.2, so I barely moved it. Once you've done these, then you can cruise over to your saturation, or you can make some micro adjustments right here. Right? Once you've done that, when you do that with 3 clips, line all 3 clips up right here, file, export, export, media, and then you want to do it as a YouTube 720p, and that's what you'll turn in. All right, everybody. It's just like a semi-long tutorial, but it's got everything in it. It's got your assignments that were due this week, everything you're working on for the next 2 weeks. If you need me, by all means, message me ASAP. We're in crunch time now. You have exactly 2 weeks from today. Actually, I'm going to take that back. This is Saturday I'm recording this. I'm going to post this today. Just so you have it and people that are done can start working on it and they have it in front of them. But as of Sunday, you have 2 weeks from Sunday to turn everything in, your final project, all these assignments, and if you're missing anything you're missing. So make sure that you get everything done. I've really enjoyed this semester, and I look forward to seeing what your guys' final projects will be. Okay, well, you guys have a wonderful week. Remember, message me over here on the inbox if you need me. Also, there is tutoring services available. Again, over in the announcements, I put those up for 2 weeks in a row. And then also on Thursday evenings in the tutoring center, there is a live in-person that you can go and you can sign up for and then show up for. Alrighty, have a wonderful week, and I hope everybody has a good time doing this. This is super fun in my opinion. You get to be really creative. Have a great day.